Welcome everyone. I'm glad you all joined me for this second session. My first session was about the creative industry in general and find the area that you are most interested in. And I can see familiar faces, so I'm glad you joined me again. And for those of you who haven't joined me in the first one, I'm Martin Perhiniak, and I'm a designer and instructor. I've been actually doing quite a lot of different things. I've been photo retouch, digital art, graphic design, and mainly to be able to share all these different techniques and things that I've learned on the way with you. I really like exploring different parts of the creative industry. And in this specific session that I'm going to do now, I would like to share as much information as possible about how to find a job in the creative industry, here in the UK especially. I did quite a big research on this, and I had experience in looking around for jobs, going for interviews, and also I've been interviewing others as well later in my job. So I know what they are looking for, and not just in graphic design but also in digital art, photo retouch, all these different fields. So there are a couple of questions which I first would like to go through, which you might ask yourself. And then I would like to give you tips on how to create your portfolio, how to present your work. And also I would like to show you the websites which is worth checking out when you're looking for jobs. Okay, so first of all, let's just talk about this topic, which is quite important. Am I creative enough? And because to be able to get a job in this industry, you have to be able to answer that question. And usually what I say is it's not about talent, and it's not about being creative. It's about passion. If you feel that if you would like to do something, let's just say you would like to do graphic design, you would like to do posters or anything, you have to have a passion. You have to breathe design, and then you will be able to get into the field easily. It doesn't matter your skills and techniques that you have. It's more about the passion. You have to be passionate about what you are doing, and then it will get you there. And being creative it's hard. It's not tangible. You can't really describe what is creative and what is not. I think everyone is creative. You can be creative in the things like general things you do every day, and it doesn't have to be like visually creative, but it's definitely it's in everyone. So I'm sure it's in you as well. You have to inspire yourself. That's the most important thing. And with all these websites and all these social network options that we have, it's really easy to be inspired and to stay motivated to do design. I will show all these websites that I usually check out. So let me just find this. Yeah, there's one thing which is quite interesting about creativity, and that is you have to be able to be organized but work as a creative, and that's the most difficult thing, because John Cleese said this on one of his speeches. He has really good speeches about creativity, and he said you have to be able to switch between two modes, open and closed mode. Open mode is when you think just freely, and closed when you do something, when you create. So first you have to be in open mode to be creative, then you have to be able to switch between these two stages or modes. You have to, yeah, I said that you don't have to be, it's not necessarily about talent, it's more about passion. Now the next question is, how long will it take to get somewhere in the creative industry? That again depends. You can easily get into the creative industry if you really want to in a matter of weeks, but it can take you years if you want to, if you're not fast enough and if you're not passionate enough. I know a couple of students that came to my classes and they were completely starting from scratch. One of them was studying engineering and completely different to what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in graphic design. And what I taught him is that if you learn what we are going to learn here on this class, he came for a 2 days class, and I taught him basic Photoshop techniques. After that, I just taught him that try to look for an internship in any companies, design companies, and just be humble and say that I know these techniques and I can help out artworking and doing stuff like that. and then learn all the other stuff from the company. And he actually found an internship in a week. He started working with a design company here in London, and that was 2 years ago. Now he's a lead designer in 2 years. Because he was so fast picking up the techniques, he was so passionate. He really wanted to learn. And I think for 1 or 2 months he didn't get paid because he was doing the internship completely for free. They only paid like the travel and lunch, I think, or something like that. But it wasn't really a paid job. But after 2 months he was hired. And after that, he quickly, in two years, now he's working as a lead designer in another company. So it can be really fast. Depending on the circumstances, but yeah, in 2 years from scratch you can get to a lead designer job. Sometimes, of course, it takes more than that, and that's just an example I had. And I usually try to keep in touch with my students, and it's great to know about them and what they do and see all their work and how they progress. Can I only choose one area in the creative industry, or can it be more? I was talking about this in the previous session, and I mentioned that myself, I'm into lots of different fields, and the only disadvantage is that I will never be able to be as good as the best in the industry. For example, let's just talk about digital art, I know that I will never be able to work on like big projects, like the big movies coming out and be a concept artist for those, because whoever wants to do that has to concentrate on that specific area and has to work full-time concept art. But what I like is the variety. So I don't really want to be on the top. I want to work on interesting projects, but from all around the different areas, and you can do that. So it's possible. I'm doing sometimes I have, because I work mainly from home, sometimes I have photo retouch in the morning, then a bit of web design, then a bit of user interface design, and in the evening a bit of poster design. So a bit of everything is possible. If you have all these clients, you can do all different things because the tools are the same. And that's the most important thing. Once you know Photoshop, and even though I teach most of the Creative Suite products, my favorite is Photoshop because you can almost do everything in Photoshop and a bit of Illustrator. And once you learn Photoshop and you learn those tools, you can apply it to almost all the projects. So it's up to you whether you want to do more areas or just focus on one. Both of them works well. What are the best resources and ways to learn and improve skills? Myself, I'm completely self-taught. I learned almost everything from the internet because myself also I am an engineer. I've studied product design at the university. Even though it's design, but it was more engineering. I've had to do lots of maths and physics and stuff like that, which I don't use at all. But it was for the degree, and even though I did that, besides university, I was self-studying about the creative applications, and I became an expert completely self-taught, mainly from the internet. Online, you have so much stuff there. It's all about finding time and finding motivation to be able to do it. You have to follow along your ideas and follow your passion and your dreams, and it's all there on the internet, even for free. Just an example, if you haven't heard about this website, let me show you psdtouchplus.com. It's one of the sites of a huge brand. They have so many websites. That's the whole network that they have, and most of these tutorials are free. They have some premium tutorials which you have to pay for, but it's again somewhere here. You can subscribe for something like $20 a month, or maybe even less, and then you can even get to the premium content. I'm one of the main authors of the PSD Touch website. You can see that's me again, and my tutorials are completely free. I have at least 100 video tutorials here, and they cover actually a lot of things. So if you have time and you want to start learning about Photoshop, there is a whole session called Basics. That's the series name. This one, I know the spelling is not right, it's intentional. This here you can find lots of basic tutorials, which is it almost covers everything you need to use in Photoshop. And there's also another one for digital art, so definitely worth checking out psdtouchplus.com. And then also there are other web pages if you are into let's say Illustrator. Then you go to the Vectorart. If you are into After Effects, they have After Effects Plus, and so on and so forth. It's definitely a good source to start learning about design. Okay, then let me go back. What are the best ways to start working in the creative field? Now, I have a special technique. When I started to work as a designer, I call this guerrilla design, or guerrilla way of finding jobs. What I did is I went up to big companies and I just simply went in straight. I didn't even have my portfolio with me, nothing, just simply walked in and told them that I'm a graphic designer and I would be able to help out if you have any urgent jobs. And with big companies, if you get to like the marketing team or something like that, they will definitely tell you, yeah, we have something that we can give you. They obviously, you have to be trustworthy and tell, yeah, I will be keep this confidential. I won't share it with anyone. But if you give me something, I will make it as soon as possible and give it back to you for free. I just want to show you that I can do this. And it really worked for me, because most of the times if you go into a company and you get to the marketing team or the creative team, it will be always hectic and they always have something on the side which they know that they will only be able to do it next week. Even though the deadline is for that week, they don't have enough people to do it. There's always something like that hanging around and laying on the side. So whenever I went in, I always got something small and they gave it to me, and they usually thought that it's probably like 1 or 2 days worth of work. But I was very, very prepared, and I stayed up all night, finished it, went back the other day and gave it back the job. And of course I tried to make it as best as possible, as good as possible. And they were always surprised with the quality and the time, of course. And soon after that, I've got work from them, and on a freelance basis, because they saw that, oh, this guy is fast, he's good in design, so why not give him the job done? And this really works well. I haven't tried this here in London. I've tried this in Hungary, where I'm from, but I'm sure it works everywhere. You just need to be you probably won't work for the first time, but if you go for like 10 companies, from a couple of them you will probably get some test pieces that you can do. Basically, it's the same as internship, but just lots of them on the same day. You can go to a couple of companies and look for something that you can do, like a test piece. Okay, what are the useful attributes to have in the creative field? Very important is time management. No matter what you do, full-time design or part-time design, you definitely have to learn about time management. And I can recommend the book which I read recently and which is great. It's How to Make Ideas Happen. It's from the creators of Behance. If you haven't seen that website, I'll just show you quickly that one as well. Definitely, this is the website that you have to swap Facebook for. Just stop using Facebook, start using Behance. The same amount of time you spend on Facebook, try to convert that to spend it on Behance. Behance is good for creating your portfolio, being inspired by other artists, and find jobs. My last 2 jobs I found through Behance. And it was like, applied, 1 week I started working for the company. See the job section there? It's actually usually international jobs, so not just London, but still it works really well. Whoever posts a job here usually are big clients, and you can see a couple of featured companies here on the right. So they are usually big clients, and they have a very specific need. So it's very well described. It's not like those nonsense jobs that maybe you can find on Gumtree. So here, if you, let's just type in London, and you can see we already have UI designer, web multimedia designer, mid-weight graphic web designer, so on and so forth. So quite a lot of options already, and they usually change day by day. So if I'm looking for a job, I check this day by day, sometimes even twice a day, because they have something only for like 2 or 3 days up here, and they change it quite often. So definitely worth checking this website out. Apart from finding jobs on this website, you can create your portfolio for free, or if you pay for it, you can even have more options for your portfolio. And you can find lots of inspiring work here from other designers. So Behance is one of the probably the best sites to go for. And just about time management, I was talking about their book, The Making Ideas Happen. The creator of this website wrote that book, and he is talking about how to be creative but still be able to manage your time and be as productive as you can. It's a very good book, and most important thing that they say is to once you decide to work on freelance basis from home or from even from a company, but on freelance basis, you have to share what you are doing, and that's one of the key steps. You can be great, but if you don't share your work, you won't get anywhere in the creative industry. Most top designers became famous because they started sharing their work from scratch. So even their first designs, they already shared it. There's so many websites like Behance where you can publish your work and ask for people's opinion and comments. And through those comments, you can learn much more than what you can learn from like a training. It's really true that you should use these advantages of the internet and the social media, that you can very easily get into the industry through just sharing your work. So don't be scared to share your work, and that's one thing that can hold you back. Like when you have to speak a foreign language, what I'm doing at the moment, something that can hold you back is that you are scared to speak. It's the same in design. You can be scared to share your work. That's the worst thing you can do as a designer. Always be confident and share your work. Usually creatives and designers, they are really friendly, and they will help you. It can be a very strong critique what you get, but it's definitely useful. You can learn a lot from it. And once you get into this, you will probably do the same. Because I'm the same. I'm sharing whatever I know, whatever I learn. I love to share it. Yes. And I can tell in the industry, in the creative industry, it works really well, sharing the knowledge and just helping each other out. So time management is very important. Concentration and playfulness is also important. Humor is something you need. And you have to be a good team player as well. Even though if you are a freelancer, you still have to be good in team, because usually you will probably do a part of the work for like a bigger project if you do freelance basis work. So being a team player will also help you. Okay, so let me just switch back to this slide. Yeah, what are the attributes not to have in the creative field? It's the opposite. You can't be arrogant. That's something that you can't be. This is just the worst thing. I had some experiences with arrogant people working together, and it was just a nightmare. Really, it's in being a designer and being like all about yourself is just the worst thing. So that's probably the only thing I would mention not to have in the creative industry. Always try to be humble and respectful for all the others. Even if you feel better than someone else, you should still be respectful for the others. Shall I work as a freelance designer? This is something that can come up as a question. If you are good in time management already, then definitely freelance will be a great option for you. But if you are not confident enough, then I would suggest first to start as an intern or a junior designer or senior designer, depends what level you are. But it's always good to get the experience working in a team first and then do freelance. Because if you start from being a freelance designer, you will have some disadvantages to other designers who first worked in a team. Because you will learn a lot from being part of a team, and then you can apply that to yourself. Once you are a freelance designer, you will be the team. So you will have to do everything, organizing the workflow and doing the design itself as well. So you will have to work yourself as a team, and that you can only learn once. First working in a team. What can I charge? Now that is again a very difficult question, and I can just show you a couple of examples. It really depends on the client, and it really depends on the work itself. I just try to show you a couple of different examples. Like this page was in a magazine. It was what I had to do here is retouching these three images, and I had to create this layout for the magazine. And something like this, if you are fast in Photoshop, it took me probably an hour, not more than that. The retouch wasn't difficult. I had to get rid of cables in the background, a couple of wires, and stuff like that. And I actually kept one there just to show you that's without retouch. The other two is retouch. So there's like a cable, and there are a couple of things that the client asked me to get rid of. So it's not really difficult. But even for this, because it's a quite famous magazine, I could charge for that 1 hour. Of course, they don't know how much time it takes for me to do. I could charge £400. So that's that's like with magazines, that like a better quality magazine that works that price, and they are happy. If they are happy with your work, you are fast, reliable, and you are also flexible to make changes. So if they come back to you, you are fast to reply and do the changes, then they will be happy to send more work to you. That's one example. There's another example I would like to show. Like this one was just concepts for a brand. It's actually an iPhone app, and I had to just come up with ideas for the brand, the logo. Very simple, and then the client chose that one, the second one, and I had to do the final rendered version. It took me probably 2-3 days, but not full working days. I usually have so many projects, so I just work like 2 hours on this, and I do something else once I sent it to the client, then I go back to it. So it's again probably altogether, this logo design project took me 4 or 5 hours in all, and again this was, I think, £800. So it really depends on what you do and what kind of work you do. As if you become famous as a logo designer, I know some logo designers who will charge even for something simple as this, but for bigger clients, they would charge probably like 20-30 grand for a logo design, and they will get it. They'll get that money, and it really depends on what level you are, what the client has the budget for, but it really scales from a lower budget to a higher budget. Website designs, usually you can charge even more, and graphic design, I'm working on magazine, and photo retouch is again something which is very well paid. That's again depends on the client, but it can be very well paid if you consider the amount of time that you put into it. Okay, it's just a couple of examples I wanted to mention, but it's very difficult to tell how much can you charge. It depends on what level you are, and it's more about having a good relationship with the client. So you will find out. It's never a bad question to ask for the budget, but that shouldn't be your first question, of course. But you can always negotiate and find out what's the best price for a project. A couple of useful links just quickly to share with you, and then I'm going to the finding jobs section of my session. These websites are great if you want to find inspiration, want to learn. So I already showed you Behance. The first one is my blog. Yes, I'm a designer.com. I'm doing trainings as well myself, so if you are interested, I just come here and I can talk more about that. I have some brochures with me as well. I'm doing bespoke trainings and workshops, usually during the weekends here in London. And I have a blog which has lots of free tutorials and materials. I would like to show you quickly my website, also to mention something which might be useful for you. Have you heard about the Adobe Certified Expert exam? Is there anyone here who has this expert exam?
I'm taking it in January.
Cool. In Photoshop? Or?
Yeah. I plan to do InDesign and Illustrator as well.
Cool. That's cool. That's really good. It's I have for you, if you have time, check this out. Prepare for Photoshop ACE exam. I've collected lots of stuff which can be useful. It's the exam, for example, Photoshop exam, is basically to get recognized in the industry. It's like a proof of approval that you from Adobe that you pass this exam. It's actually quite difficult, even for me. Sometimes they can ask questions that is really complicated. Mainly complicated because you don't design, you don't use the application, you have multiple choice questions, and you don't see the application, you have to remember the features in Photoshop. So it's a bit difficult, and these are the topics that they ask, for example, in Photoshop, and you have to have a really good understanding of all these features. Just as an example, what they usually ask in these exams can be something like, let's say, in the curves adjustment panel, let me just add the curves adjustment panel, if you change to auto options, what can you find? What does the fine, dark and light colors do to your image? So things like this, which is quite hidden. It won't be something that is like, what does the move tool do? They won't ask things like that. They will ask more in-depth knowledge. And what I found out in these exams is the most important thing is they usually give you 4 or 5 options, and most of the times they all work, but you have to know that which one is the best solution. So they give you 4 or 5 options which all is possible in Photoshop, but there's one which is the best. So to be able to tell which one is the best, you have to know all the other options, or you probably have to try all of them before you can choose the best one. So it's quite a difficult exam, but it's not impossible to prepare for it. I'm doing ACE preparation courses as well, and I'm really glad that all my students who ever came to these courses passed already, and first time as well. So it's not impossible to prepare for these courses, and once you have this, it really helps you to, again, just to show that you are, with your technical skills, you are up to the level that they need usually. Because this won't show that you are a great designer. It doesn't. This exam has nothing to do about design. It's more about technical skills in Photoshop or any of these applications. Okay, so the other websites, Deviantart is once again similar to Behance, but it's more for digital artists. So that's the fourth one, deviantart.com. Let me show you that as well quickly. Deviantart. This is similar to Behance, but it's mainly for, oh, nice advert. It's mainly for digital artists and illustrators. So that's also a very good way to share your work. And Deviantart is again a very friendly community. If you share, it can be a graphic design as well. It doesn't have to be digital art. If you share your work here, you will get lots of feedback. I really had great feedbacks from this website. So they really help you out. And another website, which is great, it's a bit difficult to get into sharing your work here, but Dribbble is also a very good community. Dribbble, you can only get into it if you are invited. So if you are an invited artist, then you can start sharing your work here. But having said that, the work here is really professional. So you won't find bad designs here. Most of them are really good. And even if you are not registered as a user, you can still check out the comments, because once again, only registered users can comment on each other's work. So whoever you see here, they are designers. They are all designers speaking to each other. And that's a great thing. Sometimes, of course, it's just awesome. But you can actually learn interesting things just from the conversation. Sometimes it's like really long conversation about a specific thing, like the composition or use of colors. So it's a great thing to like spy on other designs and learn from their conversations. So I learned a lot from this as well. So just as I said, the internet gives you so many options. It's just the time that you dedicate to do this and to find the sources where you can learn about design. So I usually am not really a fan of going to university and learn graphic design, because it's not really like live. You are not part of the newest trends that happening out there. It's there on the net. Everything is happening there. So you just need to be able to find these sources. Okay, and then the next one that I showed, Dribbble. Remember, it's with 3B, so that's the way you can find it. Abduzido is great for inspiration. They have also lots of tutorials, and all the other ones are very useful websites. Is there anyone of you who would like to do photo retouch, professional photo retouch? Hands up. For you guys, definitely check out Model Mayhem. modelmayhem.com. It's mainly for models, but also for photographers and for photo retouchers. You can create your own profile as a retoucher, and there's so many projects happening here in London, photo projects, and you can apply for them. So you can browse for castings for retouchers. So that's a great website. And once again, don't try to think about getting into any creative field without first just work for free. On Model Mayhem as well, when I started doing photo retouch, I did like 2-3 works completely for free. But as soon as I've done that, I had the experience and I had my portfolio to show, and then I could get into more paid projects. And once you do that, you again improve your skills, and then you can apply for bigger projects outside of Model Mayhem as well. So it has a nice learning curve, and most of the time, wherever you start in the creative industry, it's good to start like a very humble and you just want to learn. Just be passionate. I know I was working in a company where there were so many people applying for a junior designer role, but at the end, the HR and the creative director chose a guy because he was just simply passionate. He wasn't better than the others at all. I would say he was a bit weaker in design skills and his background, but he was just so passionate. He really wanted to be in the company and to create something amazing. He was very passionate, and that's just got him the job. So wherever you look for jobs in the creative industry, they usually say like you have to breathe design, and that's what I'm talking about as well. Yes?
How much does a retoucher make?
A retoucher can make probably by the hour. If you are good, you can make £100-200 by the hour as well. But of course, that's like the high-end retouch. So you probably can start by photo £10-20 by photo rate. But once you get to the high-end retouch, you can charge by the hour £100-200 as well, which is quite well-paid job. Especially because you can do it from wherever you are in the world. So photo retouch is very free. You don't have to be on spot. You can do it wherever you are, because it's usually not a team. It's one person doing the retouch. So that's a good thing about photo retouch. Okay, the other websites, just another, yeah, these are mainly for inspiration. And now, if I have still time, I would like to show you lots of very useful websites for finding jobs. I've done this research and I really scrapped a lot of them and just kept the really good ones here. I will go through them, and I will actually probably share all this on my blog. So if you don't want to write all them down, I will share it probably today or tomorrow on my blog, and then you can just copy the links. So if you don't want to write them down, but it's up to you, you can write it down as well. These are London and UK specific searches. So I don't want to go into like the American websites and stuff like that. This is all UK specific, and it's not in order of relevance, but they are all really good websites to look for jobs. Crop is really good. Here you can search for location and keyword. Of course, you can see there are lots of American jobs as well, but once you start filtering it down to London, you will find quite a lot of jobs here, and really good companies as well. So it's definitely worth checking out. Then the next one, I don't want to spend too much time on this website, I just want to quickly go through it. Design Jobs Board, once again, really good. And there's lots of UK and English options here, as you can see. Then another one is creative. I think this will be the VR Source, vrsource.co.uk. They are very good. They don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of options, but the ones that they have are very well selected, and they know what they are looking for. So here, once again, if you apply, and they usually get back to you very quickly as well, so you don't have to wait weeks for getting in touch with them. They get back very quickly. Brand Republic is also a good website where you can find the job section. Again, quite a lot of options here, as you can see. Media, marketing, advertising jobs, 3,647. Very well organized, very easy to find what you are looking for. I can highly recommend this one as well. Gumtree, I have it there because there's actually a lot of options here as well. If you go under jobs, you will find the media design and creative section, and you can find quite a lot of options here as well. I don't really have a good experience with Gumtree looking for jobs, but I just wanted to mention it's still there, and it's never there's never enough options that you can try. So when you're looking for jobs, you should always be thorough and look into all these options that you have. Adzuna is an interesting website as well with lots of options. So Adzuna, again, as you can see, lots of designer jobs in UK. Even though everywhere they are trying to scare you with the economy and its crisis and there's no jobs, there might not be full-time jobs, but there's so many part-time jobs, internships, junior designer jobs, freelance jobs in the creative industry. It's much more flexible. You don't have to think about full-time jobs. It's actually it's a bad attitude to only think about full-time jobs, because you have to be flexible, and maybe you just work a little bit here, you work a little bit there. Just another very interesting example. Have you heard of the term nomad designers? Nomad designers. So nomads, like traveling around the world. One of my friends done the same thing. He actually was quite good in design already. He worked for like 2 years in a studio in Poland, and then he decided to leave, and he had some money saved up. He decided to do a trip around Europe, but on the way he will do some freelance stuff from the internet. This is how he started. He ended up doing this for 2 years, and it wasn't just Europe. He went around the whole world. He went to Asia, he went to South America, the States, Africa, almost everywhere. And what he did is he had some clients, fixed clients from the internet, so that kept some work coming in even if he didn't do anything on spot. But what he did is whenever he had free time, let's say he just arrived to Prague, he had a B&B where he stayed. He did a quick project, something that will keep the money coming in, and then he started exploring the design studios in the city. He just went there with his portfolio, which was on an iPad or something, and just presented his work and said, guys, I will be here for 2 weeks, just staying here in Prague. If you have anything, just let me know and I'll come in, work here or work from home. We can find out what's best. And he actually made so much clients and connections through this, because he's a very nice guy, he's very sociable. He just wanted to make friends basically, but he made so much clients and money as well on this trip. And when he came back to Hungary, he's Hungarian. He actually opened a company, and now he has 25 employees. After coming back from this world tour, immediately started with a company like that. So because he has so much clients, he couldn't do it himself. He had to find lots of other guys, mainly his friends. So it's a nice story, but it works. It's again a great example of how free this industry is. So think about that. If you like traveling, this is definitely an option that you can you shouldn't dream about. You should think about if you like traveling, and if you are not afraid of just go there in the wild. So Adzuna, let me continue the list. Another one is Job Search Made Simple, or Simply Hired. Simply Hired. It's quite famous website as well, and you can find the creative section here. Then you can go to next one. If you are, is any of you, are you in UX design, user interface design, anyone? Okay, user interface design for you guys, I'd highly recommend this one. It's UK specific, UX job, what's the title? uxjobsboard.com, and you can choose between UK or USA, so they nicely organize the two. Definitely the best if you are in user interface design. By the way, about user interface design, so just you know what does it mean, it's mainly about softwares, applications and websites to make the user experience the best. So to make sure that the client, whoever comes on the application or website, they have a good experience. They find everything easily and it's nice and neat and unique. That's basically UX design. It's a very, very cool job in the creative industry and in high demand. Here in London, there's really lots of UX design jobs, and they are very well paid. I can tell you it's better paid than graphic design. I've worked in graphic design, and then I worked for UX design as well. UX design is sometimes twice as much paid. So you can get, as like a middleweight graphic designer, you will be probably around 35, max 40 grand a year. While in UX design, the same level, you can get 50, 55 grand as well. So it's much higher. It's much better paid. Okay, so that's UX design. Then let me show you another one. Total Jobs is also another one which has quite a lot of creative jobs where you can apply. So totaljobs.com. Then you have, if you are any one of you more into print design, okay, that's quite a lot. That's good for you guys. Jobsprintweek.com. This is really good for the print industry. It's specialized for that, and there will be another one as well for you guys. So jobsprintweek.com. There is the obviously Reed has also lots of good jobs in media, digital, and creative jobs. It's all kinds of jobs in the creative industry. Then one of my favorites is also Creative Pool. I found one of my jobs through them as well. I had a really good experience through finding the job from here. So Creative Pool, again, creative industry jobs mainly, and for freelancers as well. They have actually here you can find actually a lot of freelance stuff. I mean, projects on a freelance basis that you can apply for. So it's not just full-time jobs here. That's definitely worth checking out. And then we are almost at the end of the list. We have this one as well, Creative Match. creativematch.com. Quite good options here. That's also an interesting term, art worker. Art worker means someone who is not really a designer, so he or she won't be able to create like stunning designs on his or her own, but they can do like great quickly and very efficiently like selections or make amends to design. For example, one of the companies I worked at, what the art worker did there is basically we, the designers, created our projects, sent it to the client, and if the client came back with changes, that's the art worker's part. Because there's everything already there, and there's a list of things has to be changed, the art worker will do that. And don't be shy to be an art worker. I mean, to be an art worker is actually a really good role if you are just beginning in the industry, because you will sit next to the designers, you will see what they are doing exactly from start to finish, because you are part of the project. You will be briefed as well together with the designers. You will do the amends only, but through doing the amends, you will have a really good understanding how the middleweight and senior designers work. So you can learn a lot through being an art worker. Some people I know in the industry, they stay doing art working for years, or they don't want to do design at all because they are more confident in just doing artworking, which is fine. You can actually get really well paid as an art worker as well. So if you don't feel creative enough, that's a perfect option for you. So you don't feel creative enough, but you want to be in the creative industry because it's nice and colorful, then being an art worker is a great option. But as well, being a designer who wants to become better, you can start as an art worker, which is, so if you see this, that's a good keyword to just keep in mind, art worker. That's, I can highly recommend that, just like being an intern and at a design company. Okay, so then let me see next one. So Creative Match, jobs.mad.co.uk, Mad Jobs. It's also mainly they focused on marketing, advertising, and design. So that's also a good website to check out. Almost at the end of the list now. There is the Design Week, jobs.designweek.co.uk, where again you can find a lot of design jobs. And then the Drum. The Drum is also a very interesting website. I had a couple of friends who found their jobs through the Drum, Modern Marketing and Media, so thedrum.com, and then Creative Boom, thecreativeboom.com, another one. There's so much of these websites. How many of you, just roughly, have any of you heard about this website? Hands up who have seen this. 2 or 3 of you. So, and it's a massive website, and there's so many jobs here. So it's definitely worth going through all of these what I showed you, because you might get lucky with one of them and get like a response day after you apply. And this one is the last one in my collection, designjobs.com. Again, another one where you can find UK offers and jobs. So that was just a quick, just go through quickly the options where you can apply for jobs. And I already talked about this. When you go for an interview, you have to be very passionate. You have to be very motivated and just be simply interested in doing the design. But next to that, or besides that, it's also very important to have a good portfolio, because the portfolio is basically the only key factor apart from you as a person that will help you to find a job. The portfolio nowadays can be, again, lots of different ways that you can present your work. It can be on your iPad. Just take your iPad and show it on your iPad. If you don't have an iPad, you can have a laptop with you. I've even seen guys who just use their phone to present their work. It doesn't really matter what size it is. If it's good stuff, then you can zoom in and see it even on a phone. It used to be like these big prints. Even I remember I went for interviews with big prints. Still, some companies prefer that, but it's not really like fixed that you have to bring like big prints. No one really cares about the prints now. They just simply want to see your work. Okay, so it's flexible. What I recommend to do, if you really want to get a job, if there is a company like I want to work there, if there's something like this, and instead of like browsing for lots of different jobs, that's also a way to find a job, to find a company which you really like you like the place, or you like the people working there, or just their whole brand as a design agency you really like. If you want to get into something like that, you should be like really focusing on that company. First of all, learn what they do. So really go through their portfolio first of all to see what they do and maybe what they are weak on, and then just prepare your stuff for that company specifically. And to be able to impress a company, it's actually quite simple. You have to be creative. So there was, for example, a guy who did a light bulb, and with a small pen wrote the basic information about himself inside the light, or on the outside of the light bulb. And he just sent the light bulb to the agency, and what they had to do is just put it in, and then it reflected the CV on the wall from the writing on the light bulb. That's it. He didn't send any of his work, just this one, and he was interviewed the day after, and then he got the job. So it's simple things like this. Once you show that you are creative, you are fun to work with, a creative company will be definitely up to see you and talk to you. So it's a great way to impress by being unique. Just come up with something. It doesn't have to be complicated, a light bulb with something written on it. It's not that complicated to create. Obviously, to come up with the idea is the difficult part. But if you are creative, you will probably be able to think of something. It can be a nice printout or a leaflet which you send personalized to a company. Again, very impressive. They will probably consider it more than an email. If you send something printed and nice with the name of the company and everything, they will see that, okay, this guy really wants to work with us, not just, probably he won't send this to all the companies around London. If they get something like that, that's already showing the respect and the motivation. So just try to work hard if you have some company where you really want to work. Okay, then portfolio. What's more I can tell about portfolio is definitely have an online presence. What I recommend to do is have 2 online sites. You should have a blog as a creative person, and you should have a portfolio on the internet. Doesn't matter where you do it. It can be on Behance. Behance is really good, but I can show you another one as well. If you don't like Behance for some reason, you can try Cargo. Cargo is a good one as well. The Cargo Culture, cargocollective.com. Very similar to Behance. They also have portfolios, and let's check out one of them. So this is a portfolio you can do for free. So you just upload your stuff, and then you design the site as you want it. It's completely for free, and you can have all your stuff there at the top. About having a site with your work, most important thing, less is more. You don't have to speak about your designs, you just simply have to show it. Okay, your designs have to speak for yourself. As you can see, there's nothing complicated, very clean, white background, simply just laid out all the work and have very small navigation on the top about the most important thing, the blog, as I said, another very important thing to have, and the resume, contact. Basically that's it. You don't really need more than that. So this serves as your showcase. This is your work. This is what you do, and your designs have to speak for yourself, which means you have to select obviously your best work. Don't show things that here. Don't show things that you are not really comfortable showing. Just show the best work that you have. If it's only 3 pieces, it's enough. It doesn't have to be hundreds of them. 3 is enough. From that, if you apply for jobs, if there's someone who likes your style, even from 3 pieces, they will be able to tell, yeah, this guy is good. We would like to work with him. And why do you need a blog? The blog will be your communication channel. That's where you show your everyday stuff. That will show the clients or the companies that you really breathe design on a daily basis. But if you have a blog, that's a commitment. You have to at least once in a week, but it's better to do it like every second day. Just show something, even if it's like something like a dribble or something, a little sketch that you've done on the way home on the train. Just share it, show it on your blog, because that will show that you really care about design. You breathe design, as I said. So the blog will show that you think about design all the time, and you find interesting websites and share it with others. It also shows that you are a team player, because you are sharing things. You're not like, oh, I find this website, I won't show it to everyone, I want to keep it for myself. You are very generous, and the portfolio website will show your work. So having these two side by side is the best combination. And if you have these two, then you have to be just simply go to companies which you like, be there in person, and try to impress them with your personality. If you can do that, and you have these, which they can check out after that, you will probably find jobs much easier in the creative industry. So that's probably like the best technique, best practices. And we have probably 5 minutes left, so I would like to ask for your questions as well. Let me just check quickly if there is anything that I didn't show. Probably that's all what I wanted to show. Thank you for your attention.